What's up, everybody? My name is Demeanor, and welcome to the first episode of Underground All Access. This is the brand new series brought to you by House of Lacks, sponsored in part by Highlander. And what we're going to be doing during this series is kind of breaking down what it looks like when you're in the studio and you're making a record. What does it look like to flip samples? What does it mean when you're mixing vocals? What does quantize mean? What's the difference between mixing and mastering? We want to answer all questions you may have, and maybe even answer some questions that you didn't even know that you had. I know that during this pandemic, a lot of artists have taken to their bedrooms to make their records. We lost a lot of access to a lot of the studios we were accustomed to. We haven't been able to do shows, so we've been figuring it out on our own. It's what I've been doing. I've made like 2 or 3 albums, and I want to just go through everything that I've learned on my process during this process to help you guys out. So we're about to just dive in right here, Underground All Access. Let's go.
Yeah, welcome to All Access. Baby got an all black dress. I don't do all that flexing, but I've been counting all my blessings.
So before we get started, what I think would be really nice is to just kind of give you guys an overview on the equipment that I'm going to be using during this process. I'm using Ableton Live 10 as my DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation. It's the same thing as GarageBand, Logic, FL Studio. This is just the stuff that I'm accustomed to. You can do this with anything. But I'm also going to be using the Ableton Push 2 as my MIDI controller, and I'll also be using the Apollo Twin interface. So boom, we're about to just dive in. I'm gonna go through my handy dandy notebook, otherwise known as my sample pack, and see if we got any sounds here that strike a nerve and I can just start building a song. That's boring. Ooh. Ooh. Oh yeah, I think we're gonna go with this. I'm feeling kind of trappy today. That's the mood that I'm in. Drake just dropped a new album, or a new little like 3-pack, whatever that means. And this is definitely suiting my vibe. I love samples like this because they're like aggressive and grimy, but they're still kind of like pretty. That is totally my aesthetic right now. The first thing that I'm gonna do is start getting some hi-hats going to kind of set the rhythm, set the vibe of what we're looking at. Usually what I do with my hi-hats, I like to leave a little bit of an open space where the clap is gonna sit on the 2 and the 4. And that just means when you're counting through the sample, like if I play it, 1, 2, 3, 4, your claps are gonna go on the 2 and the 4 right there. And a good rule of thumb when you're making a beat, or you're making a record, or making a song, whatever the kids call it these days, is every 4 bars you kind of want something to change. So in any pattern that I do, because you don't want it to feel like a loop, you know, loops are great. I love loops, but you don't want it to feel too loopy. It is very boring as a listener. So just having something switch up every once in a while is really nice. Boom, so now once I lay down my hi-hats, this is just my process, you can do it however you want, but once I lay down that hi-hat, that kind of clicky sounding one, that's called a closed hat. Now I'm gonna add in some open hats. Now I've got a little bit of a rhythm going. Now to really set that rhythm in, you know we gotta add our clap or our snare. I'm kind of a clap guy, so let's see if we got something that I like. Woo! Yeah, I already want to start rapping. That's how I know, that's how you know when you got one. If you're making a beat and you're just sitting at your table like, yeah, I'm gonna tell someone this, you know what to go. Now what I'm gonna add is a little bit of a accent, snare accent clap. That's just something that this kind of sets the tone. It just adds a little bit of a vibe. It accentuates your rhythm. I love that word. Top 10 word. Ooh. Yeah, it's really the little things. When you're making a beat, it's really just the tiny little things because you don't want to add too many. That's where you can go wrong really easily. When I'm making a beat, usually what I do is I lay out everything that I want to be in my track, and then I arrange it from there and be like, okay, this is gonna come in here, or the 808s are gonna come in here, and then I'll bring the kicks in and stuff like that. But I like to just have all of my parts first. So the next thing that I'm gonna add in is my favorite part, which is the 808s. And I really like the kind of distorted 808s. The stuff that feels really punchy just because of what I grew up listening to. Pro tip for my hip hop producers, my trap producers, my EDM producers, when you're trying to add your 808 in, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell what note the 808 is, especially when it's, super low. There are a couple things that you can do. You can put a tuner on your track, which will just tell you what note it is, but I like to make by ear. I like to create by ear. I'm not really a music theory guy. The GOAT right here is. But I just kind of go off of ear. So what I do is I take all my notes up an octave to see, so versus, I take it all the way up there so it's easier for me to figure out if this is the right note. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And what I'm gonna do to all my MIDI notes is something that you will hear me do all the time. It's gonna be my favorite word. I'm going to quantize. All quantize means is when you're laying in MIDI notes. A MIDI note is just what you're actually playing or what you're clicking in. There's a lot of human error. A lot of the times you're not gonna come in right on time. And when you quantize your notes, it's literally just gonna scientifically put them right on time. I like to look at a song kind of like a canvas, right? And so up in this area is where you're going to have your hi-hats, your high-end sounds. And then right around this range, that's where all your melodies are gonna sit. And then down here, that's where your 808s and your kicks are gonna be. And like I said, every once in a while, I want there to be a switch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take that sample and I'm going to bring that up an octave to make it feel more droppy. Hey, yep, I like it. I like it already. I like it, I love it. I want it, I need it. And then right there on that switch, I'm also gonna start bringing in my kicks. And then we about to turn up. Another pro tip on kicks, I see a lot of producers, also me, I used to do this all the time, where when you're making a record, there's a whole bunch of, you just put in so many kicks. It's like boom, 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 boom. Yo, it's not a drum solo, yo. Like a little goes a really long way. And usually what I do is I just have my kick pattern follow the 808s, and the same way that I had that little accent snare in the clap rhythm, I'll have little accent kick notes that aren't on top of the 808, but they accentuate the 808 pattern. We're gonna have to cut that. So let's listen to that transition. Hey, hey. Yo, I'm a fan. I like where this is going. I don't want to add too many other elements because I'm gonna start rapping soon, but I might add some perks. Perks are just little percussive elements, because now I don't like that perk. Yeah, no, I don't think that's gonna go in there. But I don't even remember what I was talking about. That perk really just threw me off. Let me add some perks in here. And little like rhythmic, especially when you're making something that someone's gonna rap on, little rhythmic, just like accents right there, inspires your vocalist to come up with like new flows and stuff. Like I already know that I'm gonna have a flow switch right there. Let me put, I'm gonna add a little bit of atmosphere, just a little bit of texture. Atmospheres are a major key. Another one. Atmospheres are great because it can make something that feels really simple feel like, sometimes you can make something that seems simple when you're listening to it seem intentionally simple if you just add a little bit of an atmosphere. An atmosphere is just going to be nature sounds, people laughing, people arguing, little stuff that just like, when you're listening to it, you're like, wait, what's going on? And then the 8's turn it up and then you're just like, whoa, I'm in a movie right now, viral, bow. Ooh, what if we just had some like bird sounds right there? Yeah, why not? And just because I'm extra, I'm gonna put a little filter on that. Ooh, it's getting spooky. Oh, somebody about to start rapping. That's what this is giving right here. Oh, somebody about to start snapping. All right. I just totally got lost in this record. This is really fun. I think this is done, the beat. And so what I'm gonna do is hop into my little booth over there and lay down some vocals and turn this into a song. Let's go.
Yeah. Welcome to All Access. Baby got an all black dress. I don't do all that flexing, but I've been counting all my blessings. 5,000 on my new album. Follow me, D to the M and the X like Malcolm. All of these flows that I never run out of. Got me so many checks, I'm losing count of them. 150, I dig it, I'm high in the city. Lil' mama get with it, ain't rocking no fitting. My lock ain't bigger, my break ain't longer. My wallet defended, the opposite watching, I'm dodging them skirt. Drinking my water, ain't popping no perk. I love my exes, but all of them hurt, it's tough. I ain't seen a pin get touched, no cuff on me, man. Never gon' bluff on me, so ghost, cause I hush your D. East Coast, Depot, free smoke, beast mode, one take, never punch on me. No fake, no fraud on God. Got it on me, still call my squad. Got it on me. Woo. I'm just playing. Hey.